I got a face that looks like it was on fire and put out with a cleat. I made a ton of faceless and face-on-camera videos, and I'm not trying to crap on faceless videos by any means. But before you start making faceless videos, I think there's some questions you should ask yourself and some things we should clear up. Mainly, why are we choosing faceless in the first place? Is it because the genre you're in is really suited toward faceless? Or is it something else? If you've decided to go faceless because you think you're too ugly to be on camera, look at this face. I got a face that looks like it was on fire and put out with a cleat. I'm still here. You think your voice is bad? I've got a voice that would make Fran Drescher's ears hurt. So if you think you're too ugly or your voice is awful or something like that, it's just not true. Look around YouTube and you'll find plenty of people that are aesthetically challenged or that have voices that grate some people's nerves. Hey, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I certainly am not, but it's not going to stop me from doing my thing and trying to reach the people that I have information that I think can help. Believe me when I say the vast majority of people that are coming to watch your video are far more interested in what you have to say than what you look like or what you sound like. Realistically, if I was a 20-year-old that looked like a supermodel, I might be more popular, but that ain't the case. I'm more than a pretty face. If you're thinking faceless videos will be easier and quicker to create, not so much. Here's the thing. If you're going faceless, you're going to want to switch up your stock media images, whatever video that you're using as your visual part. You're going to want to switch those up pretty frequently. Some people say every 2 to 3 seconds. Some people say 5. Some people say no more than 10. So let's just use 5 as an average. So if you're going to switch up every 5 seconds, that means you need 12 clips a minute, or for a 10-minute video, 120 clips. That's a lot of media to go find. On the other hand, you being on camera, this scene, this image, this will fill some of that time. And because you can move and show emotion through your face and you're talking exactly about the topic that you want to talk about, you don't necessarily have to switch out of your face every 3 seconds or something like that. So maybe then you only need to go find 20 or 30 clips or 10 or none, depending on the situation. But if you're going to go totally faceless and you're trying to do an every 5-second switch out kind of thing, it's 12 clips a minute. So that's quite a bit. And it can be really tough if you're working with a very specific topic. That can be just mind-numbing to go find something very specific. If the reason you want to go faceless is because you don't feel like you have the right equipment to record yourself, if you've got a smartphone, you're probably in good shape. You can go right on Amazon and get a cheap external microphone that'll connect to your cell phone, your iPhone, or Android, and give you really good audio. Or you can use a tool like Descript and its studio sound and take cell phone audio and make it sound really, really, really good with the click of a button. Another issue some people have, I know I've had this issue before, is you don't really have a space to record. I get that. And look, we don't need $1 million studios. I'm not in anything fancy. I'm in a room in my house. I've done what I can to block out sound, and I try and pick times a day when I know that there's less commotion going on. As I've mentioned in other videos, I have a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers in this house, and it gets loud sometimes. But I know when their peak times are, and I also know that like early mornings, teenagers aren't even moving at that point. Sometimes you can do that. Or you can record your videos in another place, like in your car. Usually pretty good sound quality in the car. They're made to block out noise, and you wouldn't be the first one to do that. Plenty of popular YouTubers, like Colin and Samir, who have blown up on YouTube. They started doing their video podcast, recording it in a car. Nothing wrong with that. Or maybe you have the kind of career where your employer wouldn't appreciate your sense of humor in whatever kind of videos you're doing. Been there, done that. Maybe the issue is that you're just not comfortable talking to a camera. Guess what? Neither am I. Feels very weird to me. So I'm trying to look through this little glass circle and imagine you on the other end that wants information that I might be able to help you with. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. And if you're not up to it, then, that's cool. The only thing I can say for that is do it even when you don't want to, because the only way we're going to get any better at this is to keep practicing. And that's why my ugly, awkward ass is on here anyway. I'm not going to let my fears of judgment of other people or who thinks I'm ugly or fat or talk weird or whatever, or even my own thoughts about myself on that. It's not getting in the way of my hustle. I got things to do. I got goals to reach. So I'm doing what I got to do. Most of the people watching your videos, they're very forgiving. They're okay if we make mistakes. I make mistakes, definitely. And I've seen other major YouTubers that are just real in front of the camera. They speak in ums and ahs and have pauses in their speech and all that. It's okay. Just talk to the camera like it's your friend, even though it's an inanimate object and I don't know, maybe that's weird, but it's what we got to do. You might feel every one of those uhs, and like, I mean, and all that kind of stuff. You may feel that personally because it's coming from you. You experienced it, but I promise you, the people that are listening, unless it's just absolutely atrocious, if you're able to communicate your point, I don't think they're really bothered by that. It's something that I've learned over the last year and a half when I used to edit out every single pause, whatever. And what I was ending up with, particularly in the podcast that I do with my brother, is something that sounded really robotic. Now, all that being said, I'm not trying to discourage you from making faceless videos. There is certainly plenty of reason for it. And maybe it's a combination of all those reasons I just said. But I do not want to give you the false impression that making faceless videos is like some kind of little automation factory you're going to set up, like bada bing, bada boom. You click a button and poof, now you've got a perfect video ready to publish, and it's going to take the world by storm. Probably not. Faceless videos take work, and like I said, in some cases they take more work because you don't have this to fill the video. You've got to come up with everything else. If we're going to make a faceless video, we just got to make the parts. The main parts are obviously going to be the video and the audio. So what are we going to see on the screen and what's going to come out of the speakers? The video will include images and stock media video, probably. Unless you shot a bunch of video of things that you're going to use in your videos, and I doubt you'd be here if that was the case. Video might also include things like the captions and the graphics and all that whiz-bang fun stuff. For audio, you have your voice or the voiceover or the narration, whatever you want to call it, and then you might have some sound effects and you might have the background music. If you want to see what goes into making a faceless video, I have made a video right here where we're going to go through all the steps and put together a faceless video together. So join me. Just click it. Right there, click it.